right, little bonus video on reed break-in, getting reeds ready to play, maintaining them, that kind of stuff. All right, so the first thing I have here is I have my reeds soaking in water. This was the biggest cup I had, so I usually have something bigger, but it's at home. But anyway, find something to soak your reed in. Number one, most important thing. A lot of times when you put a reed in there at first, it'll come out and the tip here will be all wavy. This one you can see is pretty flat. It's because it's been in there long enough. So if it's still wavy, put it back in the water, wait it out, okay? So after it's been soaking for a while, the number one problem we have with new reeds, especially new ones, is all of this part that's been exposed when it was cut. Those are all open straws. They're literal, pathways, capillaries. They go all the way up through the back of the reed. If you don't believe me, take a new reed, put it tip first in water, and then pull on the back like a straw, and you'll pull water right up all the way through it. Okay, so we want to seal those off. So I use a piece of glass. You can use really any hard surface to set your reed on, but I like to make sure that the back of it stays nice and flat the whole time, and that it has something to really help keep it from warping. But anything you have will work. Just make sure it's nice and flat. So let me tilt this down. So I take this reed, I stick it on my piece of glass here. Move a little closer here, and then I just push forward on the reed like this. Maybe about 20 times, 25 times, and I push pretty hard, kind of with the tip of my finger, all the way across the surface of the reed. Okay. Now, to be honest, once I've done that, if I have the luxury of time and I don't need this reed to work right away, I leave it on the glass and I let it dry. And I'll do that 4 or 5 times, just because that I'm going to sealing those. It makes a huge difference in how long it's going to last later on. All right, so if I have the luxury of time, let it dry, come back later that day, do it again. Do this for a few days, and you'll notice that the surface of the reed gets a lot smoother, so you've started to close those pores. All right, next thing is you put it on your mouthpiece and you play. You just play for part of your warm-up, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So you've sealed it 4 or 5 times. Now play on it for 5 or 10 minutes, and at that point, I actually start putting them here in my Rico reed case, just like this. The reason I like these is they have these humid controls in them, and that doesn't let the reed dry all the way out. What wears out a reed the most is not being played on, but the stress it goes through from expanding and contracting from getting soaked and drying out. So I have this reed case, and I actually just bought these humid packets or humidor packets on Amazon. They're way cheaper than the Rico version, but the case is really well made by Rico. Lets me hold 8 reeds in there. Okay, so once it's in there, then I play it for 5-10 minutes a day. Now, the last thing about breaking them in is sometime in that process, after I've started playing on them for a while, I like to take them and I get just a regular old piece of white paper, and I put it on my flat surface. So in this case, I put it on my on top of my plate glass, and it can be done with a semi-wet reed. So I dry it off, and then I put it on this piece of paper, and it's almost like sanding it, but I'm trying to smooth out the back. So I'm pushing down on the reed with a thumb and a couple fingers, and sometimes it kind of sticks, but I just kind of go back and forth on this paper. And that deals with the other problematic surface of a reed, which is the underside, right? Don't do it, it's a really low-grade sandpaper, really light, and then this back is now pretty dang smooth. And that is the best way I know of how to get reeds broken in and into pretty decent playing condition. Keep them in here. That is one of probably the biggest factors. Second being, try to close those pores down so that then it minimizes the amount of water that gets logged in there, and it makes it more consistent. So hope you found it helpful. If you have any other questions about reeds or anything like that, let me know. We'll see you in there.